All right. Hello and welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about overcoming OCD and anxiety. And I want to use an analogy of how Instagram ads or ads in general can really help us do that. And I know might be a lot of questions going on right away, and that's okay. That's what the episode's for, to kind of explain this. So real quick, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Cotty, and I'm the founder of Restored Minds and the creator of the AAA Response. And, you know, if you benefit from this show or these episodes at all, we really would appreciate if you would take just a few minutes and like and subscribe, as well as leave a comment or review on iTunes, because it just helps the growth in the algorithm of the show and hopefully getting this information to as many people as possible who may be struggling with, this or something similar. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right. Because I'm kind of excited about this. And this may be a 2-part series. It's just going to depend kind of how long this first part goes, while I'm explaining it. And then we may break it up into 2 parts, or I might just do the whole thing in this one episode. It just is we'll have to kind of see. So how are Instagram ads? How can Instagram ads help you overcome OCD and anxiety? Well, the first thing that we got to understand is the concept of advertising and the point of advertising, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to parallel it with the mechanism of OCD and anxiety in the brain. So when you are scrolling through Instagram or Facebook, and by the way, a lot of advertisers are probably really not going to like this particular series. And that's okay. Because it's important that you understand advertising, because if you don't, oftentimes you can kind of fall into the emotion of it and ultimately, sometimes spend money or buy things that you don't really want or don't really need. And this is how, advertising works, right? There's a psychology to it. So when you're scrolling through your feed, or you can, on TV and podcasts, whatever, sometimes you get advertisements. Now on Instagram and Facebook, right, you'll usually see the word sponsored next to it, right? And, so there's some indication that they're giving you like, hey, this is an ad, right? And the point of an ad always, right, from any company that's advertising anything, is they want what's called a ROAS, or a return on ad spend, because they have to put money they have to give money to Instagram or Facebook to put that ad in front of you. Okay. So generally what the company does is they try to advertise to certain demographics that they think their product might best serve. Right. So if you're, a man and you're 25 to 45 and you live in the United States, or X, Y, and Z, right? They kind of pick general demographics that they think their product might work, and they test this. And what the company is looking for is a positive return on ad spend. So behind every ad you see, almost in every situation, behind that will be the opportunity usually to purchase some kind of product or invest in some kind of service. That's the reason that the company is running an ad in the first place, in 99% of cases. Now, like huge companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they will run different kinds of ads because they usually will just try to get it into your mind. And so you see these commercials and then eventually want it and buy it at the store, right? It's not a direct consumer ad. But the point is when you see most ads on Instagram, most people are running ads with the intention of getting in front of you, and then hopefully on the back of that, getting a return on ad spend and getting you to either buy their product or invest in their services. Now, there's nothing wrong with this, right? Like they're trying to show you, hey, this is the product and service that I have. And if it's a great product and service and it really does help you solve a specific problem, it's important that this happens, because they need to be able to get in front of you to help you. And if they really do have a good product, then that's great. And we're not going to go into the charlatans of the world and people that sell things that are, fish oil and sleazy products, stuff like that. But the overarching point that I really want you to understand is that when someone runs an ad, on the back of that ad, there's always hopefully a benefit for the company where they're exchanging in some kind of purchase and then getting their money back, and they are looking for a return on ad spend. Okay. That one concept is very important. Now, what the company's never going to do is tell you that that's what they want, because that's going to create resistance in you, and therefore you're most likely not going to become a customer. So instead, what ads are usually designed to do is to hook you and to get you to feel an emotion of discomfort. And then what they do is they position their product as the solution to that discomfort. Okay. So if someone is selling, let's say a weight loss thing, they're not going to say, hey, buy my weight loss product, right? It's what they're going to do is they're going to usually try to create some kind of feeling within you. So they're going to ask you questions about yourself. Hey, do you like this? Do you resonate with this? Or they might show you pictures of people who are overweight and then got skinny or whatever, to create that transformation or to create some kind of emotion. And then with that emotion, it usually is, hey, can we learn more here? And then from there, they try to sell you whatever it is, right? But the idea is they want to trigger you almost. They want to trigger that emotion, right? Because when you're emotional, you're more likely to make decisions to mitigate that emotion and not really use your logical brain. And what you will do is and we all know this because we've all done this, we've purchased things emotionally and then justified it logically to ourselves after. This is how most consumption works. Because 9 out of 10 times we're not going to, we're not really going to do like if we really look at the things we bought or things we invested in, it's like, do I really need that? Probably not. But when we do something emotional, we have to justify it to ourselves with logic, and that's how most consumer products work. So with all this being said, it's like, okay, how does this apply to OCD? And I think I'm just going to try to do this all in one episode because I think it will just flow better. But the idea is that OCD does the same thing, right? OCD is its own entity and it needs to survive, just like a company is. A company needs to survive. The way the company survives is it gets money. That's it. When it all comes down to, all the company really wants is your money. Sure, they want to help you and they want to, do work that is, if it's a good company, they're providing a service that really does cause help. But at the end of the day, they need money. That's what they're about. Don't let anyone fool you or lie to you. That's what it is, right? It's about the money at the end of the day. And when you're looking at that, right, and you understand that from a company's perspective, you need to understand it from an OCD perspective as well. Now, the company's never going to directly tell you that they want that it's all about money, right? So they usually will steer the conversation away from that as much as possible, but until like it really comes down to the very end of the transaction. But OCD does the same thing. OCD is about the OCD wants to stay alive. And the way that the OCD stays alive is the loop, right? The thought, the feeling, the compulsion, and the relief. What it needs you to do is to do a compulsion. But again, OCD is never going to tell you that you need to do a compulsion or that it wants you to do a compulsion. Instead, what it's going to do is throw the what if thoughts or the scary thoughts or the fearful doubts or whatever. And those hopefully trigger a reaction. And then it propositions the compulsion to you as the solution that then again feeds the loop. Now, again, just like most companies don't have your best interest in hand. They have their own interest in hand, right? It's transparent. Okay. It's okay, right? They want to convince you that they're thinking of you and that they have your best interest, but really they have theirs. OCD is the exact same way. This fear mind that we experience, its main focus is survival. And the way it needs to survive is for you to do compulsions. So what it does is it comes up with what if thoughts, things to trigger emotion, and then tell you that the compulsion is the best way to alleviate that pain. And then once you do it, that loop spins. And the more times it can do that, right, the better. Because the more compulsions you do, that more that wheel spins. Okay. And it's so important that we understand this because just in the same way, when we understand advertising, we can stop ourselves from getting lost in it. Many of us are guilty of getting lost into some kind of advertisement, right? And getting convinced that we need something we don't really need, and spending money on something we didn't really need to spend money on, right? And this is why you need to understand how the psychology of advertising works, because once you get caught into it, you're less likely to buy, right? Or you're less likely to make a decision that may not be in your best interest. And the same thing with OCD is OCD never has your best interest in at hand. It has its best interest in hand. So the metaphor of Instagram ads is as follows. OCD is going to throw the ads in your feed. And here's what you can't do. You can't stop the ads from coming in your feed. That's one thing you can't do when you go on social media. You can't stop ads from coming to you. And then here's what happens. When you click on an ad, what happens after that? Companies that have similar products learned that you click on that ad and they use the algorithm to then throw more of those same products into your feed. That's why you start getting ads for all the same things, because you've clicked on something at one time. In the same way of, hey, why do I have these certain intrusive thoughts, or why do I keep having these kind of themes come up? Well, because you clicked on them. You did a compulsion, right? That's it. It's like, once you understand OCD is an algorithm, right? And if you really saw it as an impartial algorithm, like, Instagram and Facebook, they don't create an algorithm that's meant to attack you, right? They just create an algorithm, and the algorithm just runs in the background, right? In the same way, it's very similar with OCD. It's just this algorithm, right? And it's throwing up, these ads. And then when you click on an ad, right, by doing compulsion, metaphorically, right, that feeds the cycle, right? And then the algorithm learns, okay, those ads worked, right? And then same thing. So it's like it keeps throwing more and more of those thoughts, and then, similar thoughts and similar ads. So the question is, well, how do you beat it, right? So if you're getting bombarded with certain intrusive thoughts, and you're trying to figuring out why is still clicking on them, right? It's still getting in and getting lost into it. It's getting lost into the compulsion, getting lost in the loop. Understand that the goal of OCD is one thing: for you to do compulsions. That's the whole goal. Just like the same with the company. The goal of the company is to get you to give them your money. That's it. It's the only thing that's going on, right? All the other stuff is just smoke and mirrors. The ad, super creative, funny, right? And hooked you, get you emotional. You click, then all of a sudden you're on a sales page, and next thing you know, on your sales call, and then then they're asking for your credit card. That process is designed. It's thought out. It's very calculated. There is nothing that's going on in that advertisement or the emails you get or the sales pages that hasn't been thoroughly thought through, usually, with the intention of converting you to a customer. Same exact thing with OCD. It wants you to get to do the compulsion, but it's never going to tell you that, right? It's going to show you the ad. The more you click on the ad, the more those same kind of ads are going to come up, because it just needs compulsions. It needs compulsions to live. The company needs money to live. If the ads aren't working, you know what happens? The company stops running them, right? Because eventually there's no payout. Now you as a consumer can't control whether the ads show up in your feed when you turn on Instagram, right? You can't control that. But if you make the habit and the practice of not clicking on the ads, again and again and again and again, not clicking, eventually the company's going to learn, hey, this ad's not working. We're not getting a return on ad spend here. This is not profitable. We're losing money. And the company, if they lose money long enough, they go out of business. Same exact concept with OCD and anxiety. If you consistently don't click on that ad, and consistently, if they're spending money and you're not buying, they're going to give up eventually. It will give up. But you can't, see an ad 3 times and not click, and then click on it the 4th time. It's the whole point of the advertisement, right? It's like when you are when you're on Instagram next time, or when you're on social media, whatever it is, you see something on TV, just understand, like, start to look beyond the ad. Start to look beyond the ad of what's really going on. This is a company. They want me as a customer, so they're advertising to me. Now, if it's a good product and something that serves you, it's not bad to engage in business with people. That's great. Obviously I'm very pro business with people. But what I'm trying to communicate here is when you start to understand the algorithm of ads, you can start to apply that very similarly to OCD and anxiety, because it's almost virtually the exact same thing. If you don't want those ads showing up in your feed, don't click on them. If you don't want the intrusive thoughts popping up or all the what if and doubtful thoughts popping up all the time, stop engaging with them. Stop trying to figure them out. Stop analyzing. Stop ruminating. Stop trying to thought suppress, replace, all that other stuff. You got to just let the ads be there. And eventually, if you don't click on them and you don't engage with those companies, over time, they're going to learn that. Right. And new companies might come in, right? And all that other stuff. You can never control what's showing up in your feed. The algorithm does. Same exact thing with what's going on in your thoughts. You can't necessarily control that, right? But what you can do is control what you click on, what you decide to give your attention to or your compulsions to. And your main objective needs to be, you got to understand that OCD and anxiety wants you to do compulsions. That is its end game. And so all the what if thoughts, all the shiny stuff that it throws up is all designed to get you to do compulsions. And when you see that and you realize you have the power to not do compulsions, just the same way you have the power to not give companies your money if you don't really want to and you don't think it's a good idea, no matter what kind of pressure tactics they use or all that other stuff, scarcity tactics, all that. That's all it is. You always have the power. Okay. And it's about focusing on where your power really lies, and then really, really emphasizing that to yourself and reminding yourself of what you really are in control of. If you're trying to control the feed of your ads or you're trying to control the thoughts, you're really going to get frustrated, right? It's about refocusing on where your power is and really, I don't have the words for what I'm trying to say right now, but really, putting your direct focus and attention on where your power is and really emphasizing that control to yourself. So I hope this idea was helpful. And I hope this analogy works for you, because when you see it, again, the thoughts don't matter when they pop up, just the same way the ads don't matter in your feed. It doesn't matter. What matters is, did I do a compulsion? Did I give the company money? And if you didn't, that's what they really want. And that's what the OCD really wants, your compulsion. And because that didn't happen over time, the thoughts will calm down and the ads will calm down. And it's all just based on the algorithm. So trusting that and really seeing how you can start applying that to your life, I think will be very helpful. So hopefully you found this helpful. And again, I wish you guys, as always, a great week. Much success on your journey. If you're looking for help or support when it comes to OCD and anxiety, again, please, check us out over at restoredminds.com. We have some links down in the notes to some different resources. And then we have, our 12-week program, as well as different workshops that can support you on this journey. So thank you. And I wish you guys a great day. Thank you so much for watching that video. And so if you're struggling with OCD and anxiety, I just wanted to let you know that we have a free training for you over at Restored Minds, where you can start learning how to use our AAA response to really break out of that loop and ultimately take back control of your life. And all you need to do to access is just click the little link below and you'll be taken to a page where you can register today. Thank you so much.